You know, I've been with Champs Boxing Club for 6 years. Ryan O'Leary, he's the owner. I open up the place. I'm here 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day. I work with young people all times of the day, all throughout the hours. I'm always telling them to do the right thing. Always telling them to stay in school. Boxing is just a format, just to bring you along. It's the Gleason of Uptown. Okay, it's the Gleason of Uptown. When everybody comes here, anybody, I try to accommodate whoever, whatever. I try to give my service to all the people who come here. You know, I'm here 10 hours a day. You know, I mean, I love what I do. I'm trying to give back to the sport. You know, and I want to say this: most guys who stay too long, they end up with problems. I got out in the nick of time. You can understand what I'm saying to you, and I know what's going on. Ryan will tell you. I call him on dates. He calls me Rain Man. You know, I said, listen. I said, when you're not here, I'm in charge. I have to make sure the place runs accordingly. If it doesn't run accordingly, we'll be out of business. So after boxing, it made me responsible while I was boxing. So I think I'm a better person. So, you know, meeting guys like your late father, you know, Lonnie Bradley, you know, guys like that. I made friendships like that. You know, this is a lifelong thing with these guys. I'm even good friends with Buddy McGirt. You know, even though I don't see him, he's in Florida. But, you know, I hope he's doing as well as he can be. You know, so I just want to make sure all the fighters today are safe. Make sure the commission does what they have to do in every state in the country. Keep this sport alive. You know, my hat's off to mixed martial arts, but they got us beat right now, and I feel that boxing is dying. So with a gym like this, we keep it going. You know, that's my personal opinion. You know, I'm not in the limelight no more. You know, I had a fight at the title when I fought Trinidad. This will be the 30th year anniversary.
Wow.
I was 30 when I fought him. I'm gonna be 60 this November. So, you know, I thank God that I get up every morning, I can come here, got a place to go. And, you know, basically, you know, it's fulfilling for me to give back to the sport and help the young guys out.
What got you into boxing?
Many years ago, my cousin Paul DeVos was a 3-time Golden Glove champ. You know, I started training with him about 45 years ago. I was in his stable with Ronaldo Snipes, Carl the Truth Williams, Doug DeWitt, Milton Guest, the late Freddie Sproul, Troy Darrell, and Clarence Hill. I was with those guys every morning 45 years ago, running 10 miles a day.
That's amazing.
Yeah. They were grown men. I was in the 8th and 9th grade. And all those guys got their shots in the 80s. When I got my shot was in the middle of the 90s.
You fought in some great venues. Felt Forum, Westchester County Center, the Blue Horizon, you know, the Garden. Talk about some of the memorable places that you fought.
I gotta tell you, in June of '91, I fought a guy named Robert Hightower down in the Blue Horizon. I had never been to the Blue Horizon, but I had saw it on TV. When I got there, actually, no disrespect, it was actually like a hole in the wall. But the fans were so dedicated to the sport. Any punch you throw, ooh, ah! I said, these are real fight fans here. And I gave them their money's worth back in '91, and they really wanted me to come back. But it never happened that way. And I believe Russell Peltz was the promoter that night. Yes, he put on a fine show, Russell.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
How how did fighting in the Blue Horizon compare to fighting at the Garden?
Fighting at the Garden, the Garden has a lot of history, decades of history. Joe Frazier, Muhammad Ali, 71 of March, you know, some Ken Buchanan, Roberto Duran. This was a legacy that I became a part of, and I'm so very proud of being a part of a legacy with such a small group of men. And you know, and I was very privileged to fight at the Garden.
And you were a regular at the Felt Forum, which is a great fight club.
Oh yeah,
Great arena.
it was a great fight club, great arena. The fans were great. Actually, the fans are famous. You know, one day I looked out, I saw the late great Kirk Douglas in the row. I said I really arrived. So you know, when that happens, you know, so here's a kid from Mount Vernon, New York, fighting in front of mega superstars. You know, in my heart, in my mind, I've already made it. You know, and it was a real thrill. You know, and I think about those times. Till this day, every time somebody says something about the Blue Horizon, my mind goes back to June of '91 when I was fighting in there. All the people were rooting. It was like a gladiator cave. You know, people were. I could not believe where I was, but that's such a great place and a great atmosphere to fight. When I fought Glenwood the Real Beast Brown, December 11, 1992, I was a 5-1 underdog. He was 36-4 with 26 knockouts. I was 25-1 with 11 knockouts. When the fight appeared, I got hit a few times. I knew I couldn't stay there with him, so I chose to box with him. I used my experience all the time that I have been fighting, and you know, and I prevailed that night. That night, I thought I should have got a title shot. But what did happen, from being ranked 11 in the IBF, after that fight with him, I was number 2 or 3 in the IBF. That was still in '92. I didn't get a fight with Felix Trinidad till 3 years later, after my 30th birthday. I was 39-1. He was 22-0.
Why do you think it took so long?
You know, this politics, you know. And what I had to do is just sit back and be patient and wait. May 12, 1993, Thursday night at the Garden. I felt that I won the first 3 rounds. He came on, the guy had 100 fights. The guy fought anybody who was somebody. Many people thought he won the fight. Now, did I deserve it? Yeah. Could I help it that they gave it to me? No. I went over to him, I said, great fight. It wasn't a landslide. It wasn't a landslide. It was a tough 12-round fight. That was the first time I had ever been 12 rounds.
I always had great respect for Saul Manby because he was such a
crafty guy.
Crafty,
Vernon.
yeah. What did you learn? I know you lost the fight, but what did you learn being in the ring with Saul Manby?
That night I got my master's degree, my 18th fight. Normally, the shots that I would hit people at the Garden with, that night at the 23rd of August, when I hit him with my most, I hit him with my greatest punch. He said, son, you gotta do better than that. I knew that I was in for a long haul, you know, and I got cut before the fight and nobody said nothing. He hit me in the 7th round and opened it up. He says, I got you bleeding now. He said, what you gonna do? You know, he sort of tried to get me out of my game, but I stayed within myself. After the fight was over, I said, hey, I hope this gets you a title shot. And I said, so be it. You know, and after that, we remained friends and stuff like that. As a matter of fact, later on in my career, he became a sparring partner for me. You know, and he helped me. I learned a lot from him.
Talking about your fight with Trinidad, you consider him one of the great welterweights?
At that time, yeah. And you know, comparing him to the other welterweight champs is not fair. I'm gonna look at that decade when I fought him. Yeah, I have been number 1 for 2, 3 years, I had 40 fights. He was destroying everybody. Now, when I got in the ring with him, it was like me being on a moped, he was in a Ferrari. And I did my very best. I got hit with some shots. You know, the shot he hit me with discombobulated me. I couldn't get back. He hit me with a body shot. The fight was over. Benji Estevez, I think him until this day, he stopped the fight as well as he should. So, hey, I hadn't lost in 5 years. It's no embarrassment to lose to a guy like Tito. You know, I went to his dressing room. I thanked him for the opportunity, and I thanked his dad for the opportunity. And I said, may you do the best thing the rest of your way. And, you know, you take some, you win some.
Let me ask you about the last fight, the campus fight. You had mentioned that you think this Crawford fight, Canelo Crawford, is a fight to retire on. Was that the same for you when you took the campus fight?
Yeah, I did, but what happened was I didn't go to camp. You know, my people didn't take me to camp. I said, the fight is in Vegas. At least got to go to Arizona so I could get used to the altitude. When I got off the jet Monday, the fight was Friday. I go to Top Rank. Yuri Boy Campus is working out. I says, when did he get here? They said, he's been here since June. So when I got into the fight, I got hit with a thumb. I really didn't have any more desire to fight that night. My eye was killing me. And Dr. Flip Lemansky did the right thing. He stopped the fight. There was no argument for me.
Talk about some of the women who train here, and is it good for the sport to have them?
Yeah, you know what? It's a unisex sport now. You know what? I welcome the women with open arms. They know what they have to do to get the publicity and get the acknowledgement that the guys have. And, you know, in my eyes, I see some ladies putting a better effort than some guys. So, you know, I got to take my hat off to the ladies. I really do, you know. But on that note, here's this thing I want to say. And a lot of guys are going to get mad at me. You know, if you don't have a boxing background, I feel that you shouldn't be in the corner. I'm really big on that. If you never got in the ring and fought and got hit and never did nothing, why are you a trainer? This is not physical education. Okay, and I'm not saying anything bad. Somebody could get hurt. I mean, boxing is still a very dangerous and serious sport. I'd rather have guys from the past who've been in there. Okay, now, and the point I'm trying to make, if a guy's hurt and the trainer, who's ex-fighter, knows what he's going through, he's going to pull him out for another day. But if the guy never boxed and the guy's hurt, oh, you can do it, he messed the guy's career up. And, you know, I'm very big on that, you know, and that's where I'm at with this sport.